74. Learn English with Elon Musk. SpaceX is an astonishing achievement, but you also got your plans for Mars. Then one where we're forever confined to Earth. If you are confined to a certain place, it means you cannot leave it. Yeah, so in order to make Mars work, we need kind of the next generation of rockets and spacecraft. We say that a product is next generation when it is more advanced and has better and more recent technology than a product that came before it. Elon talks about the next generation of rockets and spacecrafts. A rocket is a spacecraft, but this word refers to other types of space vehicles as well. We think we got something that will enable people to move to Mars. It's quite breathtaking. If you describe something as breathtaking, you mean it is very impressive, exciting, or surprising. And so many times along the way, people have naysayed, haven't they? Here, he uses the word as a verb to naysay. However, you'll notice this word being used more often in its noun form, naysayer. This is a person who criticizes, objects to, or opposes something. It could also be a person who thinks you are going to fail at doing something, or who says that something isn't possible. I guess there's certainly been a lot of attacks. This is a good sentence we can use to practice connected speech, which is how fluent speakers cut and connect their words. The most noticeable aspect of connected speech here is the linking that takes place between these words. It says, being allowed, being allowed, being allowed of attacks, being allowed of attacks, all together, being allowed of attack, being allowed of attacks. I guess there's certainly been a lot of attacks. It's become obvious to a lot of the intense interest that intense interests are entities or groups with agendas, in other words, their goals and needs that actively fight to advance and or defend their agendas. And previously they thought, well, they just basically ignore us or laughed at us. Now we're actually starting to make real inroads, and they are treating us as a real threat, and so it is quite daunting. Now that's changed, and Elon and his company have made inroads into the automobile market. This means that he has had an important effect or influence on the market, and he has taken customers away from traditional companies. It is quite daunting. If you say that something is daunting, you mean that it is frightening and it makes you feel less confident. Elon Musk strives for what others might think impossible. Thinking ahead of the curve, he wants technology to improve the way we live for generations to come. If you think ahead of the curve, you are the first to change to a new idea or way of doing something that later becomes generally popular. You get the feeling that there's a lot of dystopian writing about. Dystopia is the opposite of utopia. In a utopian world, everything was well and positive. In a dystopian world, everything is bad and the society is unfair and it causes people to suffer. The world at the moment, the future, is very bleak, the way the future is cast, isn't it? Bleak means without anything to make you feel happy or hopeful. We often use this word to describe the future. We also use it to describe a certain day or a landscape. Looks like this. Then he said the future's cast is bleak. Here, cast is used as a synonym to describe. The politician cast himself as a candidate of new economic opportunity. Yeah, I guess bleak stories make for better drama. Make for means to result in or make possible. So it's sort of altruistic, but I think if you practice altruism or if you are altruistic, you care about the well-being of the other people. Donating, for example, is an altruistic act. Why wouldn't you try to make the future better if you are going to be part of it? He says, if you are gonna be part of it. And here, instead of clearly articulating the consonant as a T sound, he says, try to make. Why wouldn't you try to make the future better if you are gonna be part of it? Okay, that's it.